Local attorney Allan Durand brought some national attention to the state by being awarded an Oscar and chosen as a 2012 Nickel Fellow for his screenplay, Willie Francis Must Die Again.
Willie Francis was a 16-year-old innocent African-American kid who was electrocuted in the electric chair in Louisiana in 1946 and again in 1947. And in between the two, the case went to the U.S. Supreme Court. A young attorney from St. Martinville who was paid a magnificent fee of 2 pounds of sweet potatoes took the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court voted 5-4 to allow a second execution because they said there was no evidence that it was the state's fault the first time.
Bob Shapiro with the Academy and Nickel Fellowship Committee said this screenplay, quote, beautifully evokes the period, tension, and gravitas of To Kill a Mockingbird.
The only time in U.S. Supreme Court history the judge who cast the fifth and deciding vote then went to work behind the scenes to try to get the sentence commuted to life in prison. And then the week before the second execution, the lawyer who took the case to the U.S. Supreme Court, who was my great uncle, former Lafayette District Attorney Bertrand DeBlanc, he found out that at the first execution, the executioners were drunk. So then he borrows some money from my grandmother, flies back to Washington, tries to get the Supreme Court to stop it. The Supreme Court still won't stop it. And the second execution was successful.
Durand was chosen out of almost 1,200 screenplays that entered the competition.
I know when I go to a movie, if it starts off saying following is a true story, I'm much more forgiving in terms of when things go slowly. And it's just something about true stories that are more compelling. And that, I think, probably had a lot to do with it. And it turns out that the little devil sitting on my shoulder for the last 30 years telling me that I really wasn't that good at it. Didn't know what he was talking about. It turns out I really wasn't that bad at it.
Durand has many ventures in the works, including more screenplays. He's hoping that his story of humble St. Martinville beginnings will inspire children to reach for the stars.
You say, oh, that couldn't happen to me. But if there is one great lesson in all of this, it's if it happened to me, it can sure happen to you. And just because you're from here or went to school here, or I went to UL before I went to LSU Law School, and go figure out what you want to do and take a shot at it, because the one lesson you can learn from Allan Durand is that it certainly can happen.